So this is a 2019 Ford F-350, and a customer brought it in after they put gasoline instead of diesel in it. That's not good. So I'm going to show you how a simple mistake like that can cost thousands. So the best way for me to explain exactly what went down is by grabbing somebody who has seen this once or twice.
All right, so I'm here with Tyler. He's our owner, one of our master technicians here at the shop, and he's going to give you a rundown of exactly what went wrong with this vehicle and basically why gasoline just is not good for a diesel engine.
All right, so we got this 2019 F-350. This is most of the fuel system out of that truck. Unfortunately, when the customer was filling this truck up, they filled it with gas, which is a big no-no for these trucks. The tank, they told us, was basically empty when they filled it up. And as soon as they realized they were filling it up, they shut the truck off. Unfortunately, they did leave the truck running while they were filling it up. So the first thing we did was we got the truck in the shop. We pulled this fuel filter off right here, which is in the engine bay. There's two filters on here. You go from the tank to the filter by the tank and then up the lines up to this filter. We took this filter, we dumped it into this clean glass jar. It smelled like gas as soon as we, put it in here. We actually dumped a little bit of this out onto the ground like we did right there, put a flame to it, and it lit up immediately. Diesel will not do that. Diesel, you could throw a 5-gallon bucket of diesel, throw a match in it, it will not light. Gas immediately will light up. So we knew that right away we had contamination. So we knew that at this point we were going to have to do a complete system on here. Ford luckily sells what they call a catastrophic kit for these, which basically anytime you have any foreign substance like gas in your diesel, or if you get metal particles, which happens to when some of these components fail, you have to do what's called a catastrophic kit on these, and you replace all these components. Also, when we got this injection pump out, which is right here, we poured a little bit of the fuel out of it, and it also had gas in it. So we know that that gas went throughout this entire system. But some of the parts that we replaced on here is this injection pump right here. All these injectors, the fuel rails, of course the filters, the lines, all the hard lines. These are one-time use lines. We pulled the tank down, completely cleaned that tank several times, washed it out with diesel fuel, replaced the lift pump, blew the lines clean, cleaned everything clean. That's like the biggest thing on these. And the reason why we had to go through that much preparation is because gasoline has no lubricity properties to it like diesel does. Diesel is more closely related to oil than gasoline is. So what happens on these pumps is that diesel fuel, when it's flowing through this and these injectors, it's also lubricating these components at the same time. But if you get gas in there, it dries these components out, you get metal-to-metal contact, and then you get system failure. And the way this system works is it's called a return style system. So you've got multiple lines coming up to fuel, and then you got line that goes back to the tank. So any pressure that bleeds off of this system goes right back to that tank. So we know that if we got gas fed up to it, we also know that gas went back out of it. So anyways, we replaced everything from there. Luckily, insurance is going to cover this for the customer. It's considered vandalism, which I learned that new. It's vandalism by the customer, but insurance takes care of it. So that's the good news for the customer. They're not going to have to come out of big pocket for this. This is a pretty expensive job. If you've seen any other video, you've seen that, we have to take the cab off to do this job. It's very in-depth, but we're, well suited to take care of it. We're going to make sure it's right for the customer when he gets the truck back. He's going to have a half tank of diesel or a full tank of diesel fuel and not have to worry about this anymore. And I'm sure this will be the first and last time that he makes this mistake.
All right, so here's a question for you, Tyler. What would have happened if the customer just ended up driving the vehicle anyways with the gasoline in it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what would have happened is you'd had fuel that made its way all the way up to these rails, to the lines, to this pump. And then what would have happened is basically self-destruction on this pump here. Metal-on-metal contact because you no longer have that lubricity from the diesel fuel. Right. That metal would have worked its way into the injectors, into the rails, and then back into the fuel tank, and it just would have kept getting worse and worse. That truck honestly would have ran really bad because this was almost entirely filled with gas.
Basically, if they would have drove it, they wouldn't have drove it far.
No, they wouldn't have drove far at all.
Like
they would have known pretty quick, hey, there's something wrong here.
Okay.
And then the decision from there, do we try to power through this bad, which would have been even worse, or shut it off? Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with this application, they left it running. What would have happened if they didn't leave it running?
Yeah, so if they accidentally filled it with gas, but they never started the truck, all of this wouldn't have had to been done. We could have simply dropped the tank down, really cleaned out the tank, replaced that lift pump, probably would have replaced the filters anyway and blew the lines out just as precautionary. But all of this and lifting the cab off and all that would not have had been done. We would always check this filter like we talked about earlier, make sure there's no gasoline in it. But yeah, it would have definitely been a lot faster repair and a lot cheaper repair.
And you know, mistakes happen, distractions occur. It could have happened to anybody. It just so happened to happen to this customer. But you know who's there? NewLIFE is there. From beginning to end, we're here to bring a new life to this vehicle.